Hello, everybody. This is the Wall of Confusion Show. We're back. We're going to come at you with a rundown of this week's news, and hopefully we're going to Skype with one of our people in Liberia, West Africa.
Hopefully.
Elisa?
Matt?
Okay, well, all right.
Okay, and so welcome to Wall of Confusion. This is our fourth week of a show that we are just trying to figure out how to make work. It's a group that is, or this show is based off of a Facebook group that we had started, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And it's a group of people that, like to argue, fight, bicker.
Love,
have fun, whatever, make new friends. I mean, it's a really interesting group of people. It's not for the weak-minded or
not the faint of heart.
Yeah, if you get offended easily, then it's
Don't come.
not for you, okay? So that's for sure. But it's a great place to learn and hear a different perspective on things that you, think about and are curious about. So it's a great way to learn. And so if you are interested in this type of group, what you need to do is go to Facebook, and the page that you would friend is WOC TV Live, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. And friend that page, and then we will allow you to come into the group. We'll put you into the group. The group is a secret group. When you are on Facebook and you're typing and you're making comments and that kind of thing, your other friends can't see it on the wall, on that side wall where you can see what people are liking and all that stuff. And so you don't need to be worried about if you say something and you don't want other people to know that might be your viewpoint and so forth. So it is private. And you can't find it either on Facebook. So that's the deal. You have to go to WOC TV Live and then friend it, and we will let you into the group. Okay. So that's a little bit about us, and I think we should go to
Perry.
How's Putin playing this Malaysian Airlines thing?
I think he's being a little bit quiet on the whole matter, isn't he? He's not really been talking. I think he's got a lot of egg on his face. This is a bad thing. I don't think he really wanted it to happen, and this has really turned the world against him and woken up a lot of people in the world, where they're starting to realize, you know what, maybe if he's not in control of his own weaponry and he's giving it to these Ukrainian rebels and they're shooting airplanes out of the sky, this is totally not an acceptable situation.
So with regards to Obama's statement of, hey, Mitt, hey, Mitt, the 1980s called and they want their foreign policy back. It looks like the foreign policy from the 80s may be back. Or?
It looks like Mitt had it right. And was it Sarah Palin that also said something along these lines?
Well, she said that she could see it, I think.
she could see it in her backyard.
She has a powerful telescope.
Probably from the flames from the burning airliners.
Good eyes.
Yeah, she saw the haze from the burning airlines.
That's pretty embarrassing. That's a big faux pas, you would think. And it's pretty amazing that Mitt said that too. I think that's very, very, very predictive. I think he kind of got lucky in saying that too.
Do you think that he may have had help from extraterrestrial/spiritual
of course,
information sources?
Maybe the GOP is paying Putin to shoot airplanes down.
Oh, no, I was thinking more his connection with the...
your magic underwear? You think maybe
yeah.
The Mormon leaders told him what was going to happen in the future?
I think
that
they
could
probably,
be.
if there's any truth to that, they've got to have some, inside line.
I think it turns out that other people have read the Russian leaders much better than our current administration has. They did not see this coming. They didn't see the situation down in Georgia a few years ago, and the Russians just overran Georgia, and nobody could do anything about it. And we tried to put some more ships offshore, and they just basically flexed their muscles and said, "Oh yeah, go ahead and try it." And now they're busting into what is it? Crimea? Is that the first part they busted into? Crimea, and then now they've got rebel fighters in the Ukraine, not in Crimea. It's in the rest of in other parts of eastern Ukraine, and they're basically causing unrest and warfare there too. It's like he's not
But
satisfied.
he's also pissing a lot of people off and probably going to marshal a lot of opposition.
Yeah, I hope so. There is talk that the next place to start looking is Poland. That he might have interest in Poland too.
And we don't have Pope John Paul anymore to get those guys together.
Have you guys heard any of the conspiracies around this that are saying that this could be the missing Malaysia airline?
Oh, I had not heard that.
Yeah,
Well,
big conspiracy. There's a lot of conspiracies around this. It's not just
what's
a
the deal with
simple-
Malaysia and airlines?
I don't know, but I've got some frequent flyer miles that I'm ready to sell you.
Ooh, I think this may be the
Wait,
end of
too
Malaysian
soon?
Airlines.
And what about the sons of Abraham over there who can't seem to get along?
You
Sons and daughters, I'm sorry.
tell
Yeah.
us what you think.
What, on Israel?
No,
Palestine? Is that what we're
I
talking
think
about
we
now?
want to hear from the announcer on this. I think he should weigh in.
Yeah, this isn't a topic that I'm comfortable talking about because I don't really understand. I will say this is a very complicated story. I think you can see it from so many different angles, and unless you're really closed-minded and only have one point of view,
Right.
it is-
I think that the thing is ratcheted and is only moving in one direction.
which is
And I'm not saying if it was even ratcheted by one group, but it only moves in one direction, and that is the Palestinians get more in the shithole, and the Israelis get more control. And I don't think people talk about the international community, and that's just irrelevant, it seems.
Yeah, and there's positions by different world leaders and by people in the world. They're biased towards one way or the other. And some people say, well, these Palestinians were already here. And other people say, well, these Jewish settlements were not settlements, but the Jews were already here thousands of years ago. And then other people say, well, there was Philistines there even more thousands of years ago. And it's just like this circular logic of, well, somebody was here a long time ago, so that I deserve this land. And people get very emotional about this, and they don't think very logically about it. Yeah. They don't realize that there are people living in houses scattered throughout that land, and some of them are Jews, and some of them are Palestinians, and some of them are Christians, some of them are Muslims, and they're living where they're living. They bought their house from somebody. They borrowed money from a bank to buy that house. That's their home. No matter what we want to divide up.
If it hasn't been bulldozed.
If it hadn't been bulldozed. No matter what we want to divide up and call this or that, people are in their homes, and talking about trying to have a solution is talking about pushing somebody out. And right now, everybody who's where they are fairly somewhat happy. They don't like the fact that there's a big giant wall.
But if
they
you're
don't like
talking
the
about
fact that there's
houses,
terrorists.
but when you say somebody's got a house built, I mean, if that house was built in the last 5 years, that's not the same thing as if the house was built, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago.
It's true. It's true.
It's
But
like,
if
you can throw up a house in 5 minutes and say, hey, you can't.
Yeah, but if you got your kids in kindergarten or second grade or third grade, you kind of feel like that's your community and that's your home and that's your neighborhood, even if you haven't been there very long.
Well,
it's whoever's there right now, unless they just recently run them out of their own home.
Okay.
They're in their own home.
Well, I'm not taking the position that it's apartheid, but I do think the South Africa example is telling, because South Africa was going to do what South Africa wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And at one point they said, we're not going to, they gave in, to the indigenous Africans, mm-hmm. Meaning the black Africans. There were indigenous, European Africans there.
The non-Afrikaners.
Right. And so that's what this is. It's a thing where everybody watches, mm-hmm. and the only thing that really has been mentioned as a game changer is people say Iran getting a nuke is a game changer. Is the game changer.
Yeah, there's going to be some bad stuff happen before Iran gets a nuke.
Yeah, which means that Iran is going to become the next Palestine. In other words, we got to keep them devastated, because if they are not devastated, then they're going to get organized, and then that's dangerous.
Yeah, and Iran, they have a beautiful first world society and culture. They're not a third world country at all. They live comfortable lives. They go to university. They have ski slopes 90 miles north of Tehran. They're doing okay. It's really kind of sad that their leaders are dragging them into this whole, we've got to have this imaginary nuclear power, even though we've got all the oil energy we could ever use for 1 million years. They've got to have nukes. it's going to lead to something really bad in a country that really could be a world leader and is living prosperously right now. It's not like they're the Palestinians. The Palestinians are living in literally ghettos.
Right.
And the Iranians are living normal lives like
But
Americans.
it should be pointed out, and I think this is relevant, that the Palestinians at one time were the most educated class of Arabs. They had the highest per capita scientific papers, they had the highest per capita college graduation, and so we've seen where that's gone. And that could go the same way with Iran if they decide that radicalism is that becomes their solution.
Yeah.
Immigration?
That's a tough topic, because people can see immigration from both sides of the fence. I mean, for me personally, I can see that, at least in Texas, we have benefited greatly from minorities being here. The Hispanic population, let's talk about them. I mean, what they've done for us as far as cheap homes, the labor that most people aren't willing to do. I mean, it's true. I mean, they've added a lot to our community and to our society. So, for me, I have a hard time with this topic. Yes, if we allow people to come in here and we have to support them, it comes out of our tax dollars. And financially, then, it hurts us. But at the same time, we benefit from it as well in many ways that maybe some other parts of the country don't. But we definitely do in Texas. So I see it from both angles, and so I'm really torn on what the solution is and what the right thing is. However, I do think that the overriding fact, these are humans, these are people, and they didn't choose where they were born. And the fact is, I mean, who
destabilized Central and South America on purpose? Perry?
Joseph on line 1.
So for the immigration topic is, I think, a lot more, it's deeper than just about our money and our tax dollars. It's a human issue. And these are, obviously, if these parents are sending their children over here without supervision, I mean, that it's got to be pretty bad where they're at. And as a person, as a mother, as a human, I have a tough time with that. I can't imagine.
I've heard a lot of people who are for. I've heard people who are for a closed border say, "If I was them, I'd be doing everything I could to get here."
Mm-hmm.
I would be too. I'm against this out of control immigration, but yeah, if I was down there, I would be running for my life. Even though right now I'm kind of wishing I could move down there.
Some of the places,
Bye-bye.
not all of them.
Yeah,
Well,
there are some bad places.
Perry, do you have anything to say about my comment about us helping destabilize things down there?
Well, I think we have. I don't think I understand the history of what America has done or the United States has done down there over the past decades. But I know that we've had plenty of meddling. We have destabilized some of their governments and basically pushed them out of power and put somebody else in that we wanted. And I don't know exactly how that interrelates to what has happened right now.
Well, I think
but I knew though their economies look like they're borderline collapsing. We had the South American, Central American currency crisis back in the 80s, and a lot of them have a lot of debt overhang that continues to this day. And so there's difficulty with the governments even able to implement some of the programs they wish they could implement. For instance, in Honduras, the government it's a pretty reasonable government, but most of their bureaus cannot even implement the laws that they're instructed to implement. They don't have the staffing or the resources or the funds to do it, and partially because they're paying on their debt. And so even if they wanted to do something good, they're having a hard time doing something good. And when you've got like 40% real unemployment as they do in Honduras, you basically can't get a job, and your government basically can't help you because your government can't come up with a massive welfare program like the United States does. So you literally are scrounging for food sometimes. These people can be in very dire straits.
Okay, what do you think if the Republicans take the executive branch this time around, or if they're in a position to make policy, what do you think they're going to do on the border?
I don't know what they will do, but I know what they should do. They really should lock down the border. We really should have a set quota of legal immigration from every country, and if those quotas need to be raised, we can raise them. But this out of control, we've got an extra 20 million people here that the government isn't even admitting is here.
Well,
they're saying 11 to 16 million people. There's not. There's 30 million people here illegally. And we're hurting, if you think about this, if you take, say, 10% of the generation of, I'll just use Honduras again, 10% of the young generation from Honduras, and they flee to the United States, and we say, okay, come on in, we'll keep you. Guess what happens? You commit a massive atrocity against their economy because you've lost 10% of their future consumers. So the 90% who didn't come here are now left in absolute squalor, worse than what they already have. It really does. Think about it, if 10% of our economy stopped, well, that is what happened to us in 2008, 2009. 10% of our economy stopped.
Yeah,
you see how different it is.
Well, what I don't understand is
poor. Think about how bad it can be.
What I don't understand is whether we're going to let people through, or whether we're going to keep them out, or whatever policy we decide in between. Why can't we control the border? If we're decided that we're going to let people in, we can still control the border. Why is it that our policy is that there are literally people walking through the wilderness and climbing over stuff and sneaking through the woods? And I mean,
well, what other option? What would you propose? How do you protect a border that big?
It can be done. It can be done. It can be done.
Like the Great Wall of China type thing?
No, that's a good point, because the Great Wall of China was built a long time ago, and now we have technology and division of labor and resources that didn't exist back then. The fact that China, it wouldn't be anything like the Great Wall of China. It'd be a much smaller deal, and it would be much more feasible because of the modern situation. It would cost a lot of money, but I mean, for God's sakes.
I think it's pretty clear that our government is intentionally dragging their feet and does not want to have this border closed.
No,
and
not Democrats or Republicans.
What do you think? How do you think Rick Perry's doing with this, since he's?
I think he's putting some egg on the federal government's face and highlighting the fact that they're not really trying anything. We've got 20,000 INS agents, basically. That's enough to staff 3 shifts of a person every third of a mile along the entire southern border. I mean, nobody's going to get through if you've got a guy every third of a mile. They're not going to get through. And that's a human wall. We are paying enough people to build a human wall. And instead we're putting them behind desks, we're having them fight legal battles with each other internally. They're not being able to do anything. And if you look at plots of the number of apprehensions that per Border Patrol agent since the 80s, it's gone from something like 200 per year per agent to 20 per year per agent. It's like they're 10% as effective as they used to be. Obviously, this has been intentionally structured this way so that people get through. And I believe, I think I've expressed it before, that they're doing this because Social Security is falling apart and they need those heads to be counted so that Social Security looks like it will be propped up for another 40 years.
We want to take a call?
I was going to say, there's a couple calls on hold that maybe want to talk about this. There's 3 callers on hold, so yeah, I think we should take a couple, and we could also we also did a couple videos talking to people on the street about what they thought about the immigration issue. So you want to do the video, or you want to take the calls?
And we also have an audience here today, and if the audience wants to weigh in at the announcer's microphone, they can. But go ahead.
Let's take Frank on line 1.
Frank, are you there?
Frank is on line 4.
Oh, okay. Who's on line 1?
Joseph.
Okay, let's take Joseph.
Oh.
In the air.
Joseph? Hello, Joseph?
Are you there?
We're here, Joseph.
What's going on?
You got anything you'd like to add on to the immigration topic?
Don't hear anything. Are you there?
Have you called in before,
Amen.
Joseph?
Jewish sound system, you're all going to hell. Can you hear me?
But we're not there yet. And this is, what are we going to do
Told
before?
you. I told you.
Why are we going to hell again?
You're all going to hell for supporting the Jews. I told you. You totally blew it last time I called. I gave you a perfect segue into the Israel Zionist occupation. You know what's going on here. 9/11 was the Jews. This passenger plane was not shot down by Putin. It was shot down by the
Woody
Jews,
Allen.
Okay, that's what's going on here. It is the surge that is happening across the border. It's all the Jews. They've got you focused on Gaza instead of Gaza. Okay, you're all going to hell for supporting the Jews. You've got it backwards. The occupiers, you're all going to hell.
But Joseph,
And I just want to let you all know, I see you on the wall, and you're always talking, and you're always making fun of the little children dying in the bombs, and we're all sick of it, so you're all going to hell. Good day.
Bye-bye.
bye,
Joseph.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call, Joseph.
That's an interesting name for somebody who thinks that the Jews are the problem, but
I didn't even know we had a problem with the Jews getting across the border. I
Well-
thought we had that problem locked down. Are there a lot of them?
they got such control of the media, they're not letting, everybody knows, but they're just not getting it through the media.
You think they're calling them Honduran children and Nicaraguan children, but they're actually Jews?
Possibly.
Oh, wow.
That's what
bad.
Joseph, I mean, Joseph sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
That would be
I
terrifying.
can't vouch for everything he said.
Guys, we traced that call. It's from
NSA, I bet.
somewhere in L.A. Some actor who played Jesus or had a movie about Jesus. You know what I'm talking about?
Did he have an
Mel
Egyptian?
Gibson?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't want to say his name. I don't want to get sued.
Oh,
Okay, well, we're not promoting Mel Gibson, but he's also going to be in The Expendables. Don't go see that.
don't go see that, no, because you don't want to support that kind of thing.
Okay, let's go to line 2.
Hello.
Hello? Line 2.
My line too?
Who is this?
Sandy.
Sandy?
Hello?
Hi. Is this Sandy? Or am I?
Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hello, hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us,
She was
Sandy?
having phone problems.
Uh-oh. Well,
Okay.
let's put Sandy back on hold, and we can go to caller number 3, and
Can-
maybe she can work out her problems.
Yeah, can you call us back, Sandy?
No, she's back on hold. Okay, so what about
Frank on the
caller?
line.
Frank?
Oh, man.
Hey, Frank, what's happening?
Frank?
Did you pay the AT&T bill this month?
You know, gosh, I'm so bad at paying bills on time.
Hello?
It's my fault. My fault. My bad.
Frank? Frank?
Okay, well, why don't we go to a video of, we have a video of somebody that we just talked to on the street just to kind of get an idea of, what they think about the immigration issue and just a different perspective. So do we have the video queued up?
Oh, wait, okay, so we're going to...
No, we're going to the video because I
I don't think it's clear in there that we're going to the video at this point.
Sandy's on the air.
Sandy? Sandy?
No, Sandy's on hold still. 2's blinking.
Yeah.
Caller?
Sandy is on the line.
Sandy?
Go ahead, caller.
Sandy, go on. Can you hear us?
Wow.
We are definitely
About to do a
changing.
dance show.
We are definitely just changing phone providers. This is
Hello?
Who do we got, caller?
Frank?
Frank. What's up, Frank?
Yeah.
What's going on?
It is, I'm Frank. I'm Mexican American.
Okay.
My thing is, I don't understand these people. They break the law and cross over legally. And my problem is that they get a free handout with the government. They get $200 for each kid. And they get free health, welfare and free health care and everything else. And I don't understand why they get a free pass when they legally broke the law by coming over here.
But does the need of the people coming across the border override the necessity for the law?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, at least we get to look like we're a compassionate country and we take care of people.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I ain't got nothing against them, but if they're here illegally, I don't think they should get help from the government. I worked all my life trying to make it in this world, and then all of a sudden they just come illegally to break the law and they get rewarded.
It doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, it's not.
Frank.
You know? And yes, ma'am.
Frank, I'm just kind of curious. I hear an accent in your voice. Where are you from?
Here, Austin, Texas,
No, I mean, well, okay, then what's your ethnic background?
Mexican American.
So at some point, I'm just wondering. At some point, you probably had family from there that came over here, and illegally, legally, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, do you have any feeling, because there's some kind of connection? I would think. Does that have any? You know, what's the word I'm looking for?
No, I mean, to me, it's just regional.
It's just strictly like a legal thing for you.
Yes, I understand. Like, I understand. Like, there's a lot of people that get all these, benefits from.
But there's a lot of Americans that get a lot of free benefits because they are too lazy to work too. So.
Yeah, but we're Americans. We're citizens. We're not here illegally. We didn't break the law. I bet you if you break the law, we get arrested, don't you?
Yeah.
They don't get arrested.
Let me ask you a question, Frank.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Frank. Now, if a country says that it has a law, but the law is not being enforced, then that kind of says to the people who are coming across, maybe it's not a law that is being taken completely seriously. And so if they're not prosecuting, it's like there are crimes, there are, say, sex crimes on the books in states that are just not taken seriously and not enforced. So, but people don't really seem to think there's a problem with breaking those laws.
There is a problem, but I got an easy solution. Don't cost the United States any money to send them back. All you got to do is to give them government help and quit giving them jobs.
I think he's right. I think Frank
They'll
is
go
right.
back. They'll go back. It don't cost nothing. And they got bank accounts. They're buying houses. I mean, I live over here in South Austin. I see all this, and I see them when they go to HEB. They open their wallet. They got full of money. They got credit cards, and they got cell phones. They go out there and brand new trucks. It's because of the government,
Frank, are you on our Facebook group?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, you're just watching us on cable.
Yeah, I just turned on cable. But like I said, that's the solution. Just could give them help, the government help, and could give them jobs, and they'll go back.
Stop giving them goodies.
Yep. I mean, if you look at all these kids, you see them when they're walking. They got 5 kids, $200 a hit. Then they work. The husband works, and she works, so they're banking.
Hey, Frank, what do you think is going to happen? What policy do you think this country is going to choose? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know. I hope they just could change the government.
It doesn't look like they're going to do that, though. It doesn't look like they're going to do that to me.
It's crazy. Is that we're citizens. Look at how we got a lot of homeless people that don't even get help.
Yeah.
I got a brother. He's disabled. He makes a 50 cents too much. He don't get help from government because he makes too much, and he's disabled. It's kind of crazy. He worked all his life. The government I don't think it's the government. It's crazy.
Well, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks,
Frank.
Frank.
All right.
I do find this interesting, his phone call, based upon the interviews that we did that when we went out on the street. What we found, and this is, it was sort of an experiment, but what we found is that Americans, or let me phrase it, white Americans were actually more on the side of let them come in and let them stay. And then when we spoke to Hispanics, we found that they thought that they should not be over here. So it was very interesting and very eye-opening. And I think that the reason that a lot of us that are, I think I might be more on the side of that, I'm fine with them being here. I'm fine with paying extra taxes because I benefit, I think, even more than I pay out in taxes. So, and I've never done the math, but I feel like it. Between all the things over the years, between the houses I've owned that I know are a lot cheaper here than they are anywhere else, daycare, having nannies, maids, lawn care, all these things that we get with these people. Construction, it's crazy. We do benefit. We may not realize we're benefiting from it, but we are. And so I tend to fall, I think, in that side of it. But it's interesting when we were talking to people out on the street that most white Anglo people, a lot of them seemed to feel that same way, and it was the Hispanics that had the issue.
Yeah.
Am I right? I'm not making this up, right?
We spoke to one Mexican national who was here on vacation as a tourist, And he said, no, you got to send them back. We got the same problem down there. We have to send them back too. They have to go back to their host countries. And he just said it very clearly. So obviously he had no bias. I mean, that's just what he felt had to be done. Everybody has to follow the law. And if the law is unjust, then you open up a discussion about changing the law. But you don't just circumvent the law. And
When we do have a video of him, one of the men talking about it. Actually, once again, a white American discussing this. Do we have that video queued up by any chance? It's.
I think they'll play it if they get it.
Do you guys have it? Because it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's exactly what we're seeing.
It is kind of shocking to see what's happening. And
Hunter, is it? Did they have the video?
Oh, we're not sure which one.
We're
working on it. Let's get Elisa off camera.
It is.
I don't remember his name. And we don't have it here on our notes.
Okay, well, we don't know his name.
Here, let's go to camera 3.
I'm here with James to talk about
There we go.
what's on his mind. No,
Nope,
that's not
it's
him.
not him. But let's play it.
But we can talk about James.
Sure, let's talk about James.
Austin for people that are disabled and who get Social Security checks, and also for the people who get the checks that have felonies that can't get a place to live due to the fact that they look on your past. They don't look at what you're trying to do with yourself now. They don't want to try to help you with what you want now. They try to look upon the stuff you did in the past.
Hi, I'm here with Martine, and we would like to ask you a couple questions. So, are you aware of what is going on with immigration, with the children that are coming across the borders by themselves right now?
Yeah, in Mexico we have that problem because we have a lot of immigration there, illegal. We have that problem in Mexico because they arrive in a train that is called La Bestia. It's a very huge problem there in Mexico.
Okay. Well, what do you think we should do here in the United States? Should we help the children, then send them back, or should we help the children and keep them here?
I guess that you have to return them because we are facing that problem and it's very hard for us.
And we're back now with we've added Paul to our lineup. And what did you think about that interview, Paul?
It was good. It was good. Interesting, as Alyssa mentioned earlier, some interesting thoughts that a lot of the Hispanic community, ones that have already done their time and have been here and all that, are seeing almost a blowback towards the flood, if you want to call it that. You know, it's a touchy situation. You know, but they see themselves as having done their time. They've gone through all of the proper channels, and
Stand down, line 4.
do we have one?
No, don't know. But let's hear more from you.
Yeah, but it's a situation. You know, I am amazed to see them. A lot of the Mexicans they're not happy about this. Not happy about this. You know, I know that we do have some laws that are in right now that are preventing more Mexicans from coming over. But here we are allowing everybody from south of them to come in. So it's interesting.
So we're screening for people from Mexico in a way that we're not screening for people from further south.
Neighboring countries, yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's interesting.
Right, we have a different set of rules and agreements with the other countries besides Mexico. With Mexico, if we apprehend somebody coming across and we identify that they're Mexican citizens, we turn them around and send them right back home. And I think we even fly them to the interior ways to not just drop them off at the border again so they can just walk right back in.
Right.
But with the other Central American countries, I guess it was George Bush that signed the agreements with those nations that said, no, we will have a hearing for them and we'll bond them out. And basically what we're seeing right now is they have the first hearing with the judge, and they promise to show up at their real hearing, and then nobody shows up at the real hearing. And these are children for the most part, and we're talking about we're talking about children who are now about to live in the United States illegally for a big chunk of their lives. They're about to graduate from high school,
Fresh
maybe
taxpayers.
college, and not be able to get a job because legally they can't get a job.
Yeah.
And so what are we doing to these kids? This,
Well, I have
this
a
just
question.
seems incredibly cruel.
I have a question about countries besides Mexico. What do you do if you have, say, an Italian American who's down in like Costa Rica, and they decide they're going to try to, you know, say somebody from the Chicago area maybe or something? And,
We don't want those people for sure.
I mean,
Yeah, no Italians. Oh,
No Italians.
No, definitely
No,
no
no.
Italians.
especially from Costa Rica.
Yeah, those.
That too. They're the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of overlap,
Yeah.
I think. From
Monkey lovers.
They're worse than
Such.
Irish.
yeah,
They're worse than the
and
Irish.
Not just monkeys,
Yeah.
but other creatures who we don't even know all the names. Probably haven't even been classified
People
yet.
of the jungle, we'll call them.
Yeah, yeah. Watch out for those guys.
I do,
Let's do run a promo by one of our sponsors real quick. Okay,
Oh,
okay,
was
okay,
it
okay. We'll
Sandy
take
on
a
Okay.
let's take we'll
Let's do
take a
that.
call
Let's-
from Sandy
Let's
first.
try to talk to Sandy. Let's see if we got our telephone bill paid.
All right, Sandy on line 4.
Hey, I can hear you guys now.
She
Fantastic.
is, yay.
How's it going, Sandy?
I couldn't hear you before, and you couldn't hear me.
We could hear you a little bit.
Yeah.
She said there was an echo. Is there still an echo?
No, it sounds, you're
no,
crystal clear to
absolutely
us.
wonderful.
Can you hear us okay?
I can.
Okay, good. Have you been listening to the program?
I have off and on, but it keeps cutting out on me because of the phone call. But I heard most of it.
What do you think about this immigration situation, Sandy?
I think there's 3 different parts to it. I think we have the drug cartels that are coming over. I think we have the immigrants from Mexico that are coming over to work here, and then I think we have the children that are coming over from the Central American countries. And I think there's 3 totally separate issues. Should be dealt with as 3 totally separate issues.
I'm surprised that Sandy picked up on the third angle. You know, that's something not a lot of people are talking about. They're talking about the humanitarian end. They're talking about the economy end. We've kind of been skirting around the whole the crime end and what some of the outside influences that are behind the scenes working on this.
That's
Well,
true.
that stuff can be scary.
It can be.
Right. Yeah, but, I mean, we have to do something. The children that are coming over here are fleeing actually for their lives.
It is. It is.
And we have to do something. We cannot just bring them in and send them directly back to what they were where they'll be killed.
You don't think that we should do with them what Clinton was doing with the people from Haiti?
I don't know what he was doing with them. I'm sorry.
Oh, he was sending them back,
Backing them up.
and that was a real hellhole.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, we should not do that at all.
And that was after he told them to come on over, we'll let you in. But he needed that to win an election, but we're not going to get into that.
But the right wing is now saying is lumping all 3 of these things together, and they're 3 totally separate issues that we're dealing with right now.
You know, Sandy, I found out, and I had no idea, but you know, we're averaging right now during Barack Obama's administration, 400,000 a year coming in. Did you know that Reagan was allowing 1.1 million for his tenure that he was in?
I know that under Obama there's less people coming in and there's more people that are self-supporting.
Yeah, I mean,
than
it's
under Reagan and Bush.
It's still a large number, but for those that want to throw rocks about it and say this is just insane, I can't believe this is going on. So you know.
You know what I've heard? I've heard that the reason the number is so much lower is because a lot of people are going back home because there's better paying jobs down there now.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I'll be darned.
So we're having a lot of people, what do they call it, self-deporting? But they're not self-deporting because we're, crucifying them here. They're self-deporting because they're going back because there's really some good jobs in Mexico City. And they're finding out, it's really hard for me to get a job here in Texas because the employers want to, they want to see that I'm a legal employee and I can't get a job. If you've got a college degree, well, you're just not going to get a good job unless you're a legal resident. But, in Mexico City, you can become an engineer down there. You can work for Pemex, for the Mexican oil company, and you can draw a very high salary because it's an international market for engineers, for instance. So.
Yeah. And we are enforcing the laws here, but people are just not. I mean, they're not reporting that we're enforcing the laws here, and that people are self-reporting because of that, because we are enforcing the laws here. But I still think that what my concern right now is the kids coming from. I don't want them to get thrown in with
to the wolves.
They're the same as the drug cartel because they're not.
Yeah.
And we do have to do something about them.
Hey, Sandy, guess who we just added to our crew up here in the front?
Who?
Chris.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, sweetie. You doing okay?
I am.
Great. Good to hear you. You baking cookies?
Baking cookies.
Yeah.
Just for you.
Good. Sandy, I have a question. There's a lot of talk about a lot of these so-called children that are coming across. They're finding out that they're involved in gangs. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it, but I don't believe it.
You don't think that's true?
Well, here's where it goes back to there's three separate issues. For where there's the drug cartel, that is a huge issue, and that we need to work on it. Are the drug cartel coming in with the children?
Well, from what I understand,
we protect the children.
From what I've heard or from what I've read, it's the drug cartels are the reason a lot of these kids are here. It's become a big problem, and they're making a fortune smuggling these kids up here. You know, and a lot of these kids have been indoctrinated into this.
They've been recruited.
This lifestyle too. Do you think these kids are going to be productive members of society if they're trained by these drug cartels and they're up and they're talking about MS-13 members in all these camps that are along the border that they're already, there's all kinds of things that are going on that they're not reporting. Some of these kids, 13, 14 years old, have killed people in the countries they live in. I mean, they're not, you say they're all these innocent kids, but there's a portion of these kids that aren't so innocent,
Well, here's what I think about that. I think it's what the right does. It's a scare tactic. I don't think there's a huge problem with these kids coming over here that there's a whole bunch of gang members that are 12 years old mixed in with them. I just don't believe it. I think it's a scare tactic, the same scare tactics they were saying that the kids are bringing over diseases. That's not true either. I think that's a scare tactic. I don't think that's happening.
So you think that's just a bunch of propaganda by the right? So
yes.
They're just all a bunch of innocent kids?
I think the majority of them are, yeah.
Okay.
And I think, and these kids have to have hearings. Now, whether they show up for the hearings or not, I don't know whether I'd show up for a hearing if I knew that there was a chance they're going to send me back or somebody's going to kill me.
Right.
But, I don't think that. I think that's a very small portion of it.
Okay. One more question. If these families are so impoverished, where are they getting $5,000 to $7,000 per family to ship these children here? Where's they getting that money? If you have $5,000 or $7,000, can't you raise your kids with that money instead of sending them?
That could go a long ways in some of these third world countries down there.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That is.
Well, I don't think it's that they can't raise their kids. I think it's that they're afraid their kids are going to be killed. Yeah. Now, and how they're getting the money, I don't know how they're getting the money. I don't know if they're getting it from relatives. I don't know where the people are pooling their money. And I'm not sure that all of these kids are coming over through the coyotes.
Right. It seems we're getting a bunch of conflicting information about this. It's hard to tell what's true.
It is. It is hard to tell which is true and which isn't true. But I don't. I think there's how would you get money if it was going to save your child's life?
That's a fair point.
You would ask everybody you would.
Well, I think if I had an extra $5,000 or $7,000, I would probably try to raise my child before I would send him out, away. But that's that's me. So.
Yeah, well, they're not saying they don't want to raise their children. They're saying they want to keep their children alive.
Yeah.
Right. I understand. I really can't speak to what's going on down there. I've never been in these countries. I don't know how bad it is. So it's a tough issue.
I've been down there. It can be very harsh, but it also can be very rewarding too. I mean, you don't have to be rich to be happy. And a lot of these people are living poorly, but in paradises that a lot of us pay a lot of money to go visit.
Fair enough. Anything else, Sandy?
No, that's all.
Okay, it's still good to hear your voice.
Sandy, thank you.
Hey, thank you guys.
I believe we're going to have a word from our sponsors now. Or perhaps not.
Forget it.
Okay.
Chris, I need to
Talk with Josh.
We've got Josh via Skype. Is that right?
That's right.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right. See you later, Chris. Hopefully,
Chris.
Alyssa can come take my spot here in just a second.
Okay. Okay, let's get some audio. We had it in there. Hey, Josh, raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay, we can't hear you yet. We're going to try to get some audio.
Well, maybe he should speak.
Oops.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's
all right,
see.
here's
At
the
least they can
deal.
hear us.
We have a correspondent in Liberia, West Africa. So, for those of you who don't know the history of Liberia, it was started by African Americans in about 1840. It was started by African Americans in about 1840 with the help of the American Colonization Society. And so it was started by English-speaking African Americans, and the names of the towns and the people are like Taylor, Johnson.
No kidding now.
Yeah,
Wow.
Monrovia is the capital.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, and the Americans, the colonists from the United States had control of the government until about the 1980s when the tribals took over. And that led into a very long and bloody civil war in which up to 500,000 people were killed. Now, Josh, can you?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, we can hear him in there.
Turn down your, Josh, turn down your audio. Well,
My what?
Okay, we're working out the kinks on this, people. This is.
Yep. He's got a lot of delay, and he's got the audio
we can deal with the
situation.
delay.
Yeah, we can deal with the delay, but he's also hearing us twice.
But now he's going to be down to once, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
But I can't hear you at all now.
that's okay. Just talk. Say your whatever.
Okay.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, we can hear him.
We can hear him
just
in the
barely.
studio,
Yeah.
but we can't hear him. We can hear him from in there.
What do you want him to say?
We want him to. We can't hear him, and can the audience hear him?
Audience can hear him. You cannot hear him.
Okay. All right, Josh. First of all, what are you doing there?
What are you doing there, Josh?
I'm just sitting here.
No, in general.
Liberia.
What the hell are you doing in
Yeah, I'm sitting
Liberia?
here.
Yeah.
It's just like a chair in a room and sitting down, surfing the net, the interweb.
No. Why are you
Can't
in
hear anything,
Liberia?
Yeah, I know, Josh. You can't hear anything. He wants to know why you're in the country where you're at.
Well, I'm just trying to pad my resume. I'm interning with USAID with the summertime and just trying to get my foot in the door.
So what's the situation? So there, I saw on the news this weekend that Ebola is back and it's showing up in Liberia. What do you know about that?
What he wants to know what you know about about what?
Ebola.
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 It's a virus. It's not something you really have to worry about where I'm at. If I went out into the countryside and started picking up dead bodies or going into a hospital and touching people, then it might be a risk, but I'm not, touching dead people out in the country, so.
But there is an
pretty
Ebola
far
case
removed
from Liberia
Ebola.
right now.
But there is a case from Liberia right now, right?
No, it's definitely pretty serious here. But it's a countryside thing. I'm not exposed to it, but it's certainly it's a really big deal here in West Africa generally. It's getting a lot of media attention here.
Okay.
Sit here.
Talk to him in here.
Okay.
Okay. Right there. You just hold it right there.
And so, what are they? What's the response?
The response?
Are you guys being warned about it or cautioned, or is there an official way of dealing with the fact that they've had cases showing up there?
Yeah, well, the president made some kind of announcement about it the other day, and I think there's more or less a general public education campaign going on. I think it's spreadable because people, I think, if you have a loved one or something who gets Ebola, you might be inclined to touch them and try to care for them. But next thing you know, you have it, and so it's hard to tell people
Stay away.
Stay away from, because it's just cultural to help out your family if they're dying. So next thing you know, it starts spreading to you, and then you spread it to other people, and so there's kind of a public education campaign generally about what you should and shouldn't do and how to protect yourself.
So who's running the country right now? People from one of the indigenous tribes. I mean, I know the president is from the Gola group, isn't she?
I don't know. I really don't. I think I know she was educated at Harvard.
Right.
I wanted to say I thought she was half American, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
I know she did go to Harvard though.
And so is she part of the women's group that kind of started a lot of the change recently?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think she's independent of that.
But
she was pretty prominent generally. I mean, I know she's got a pretty nice resume. I was looking at it the other day, and
she has an elite education.
yeah, she's. I don't know.
What happened? This part of the craziness of the Civil War was brought to an end by a women's a group that was run by women exclusively.
Right.
And how did that happen? What happened? What'd they do?
You're referring to that movie, Pray the Devil Back to Hell. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't watch that.
It's just about you had a bunch of women, and they kind of reached this critical point where they were tired of living under siege, and they just started putting a lot of pressure on more or less civil disobedience type stuff. I mean, it was almost like a strike or something. They just started. Like for example, there was some peace talks happening in Ghana, I believe, and the peace talks weren't really going anywhere. So the women more or less made a human chain around the building and wouldn't let any of the leaders come out of the building until they worked out a deal, worked out some type of realistic peace terms. And what was one example off the top that I could think of?
Okay, and don't you get a malaria situation there too?
Yeah, generally, malaria is a pretty bad problem all over Africa. I mean, sub-Saharan Africa, tropical Africa.
Right, but didn't you go there without your malaria pills or something?
No, I don't have any malaria pills.
So what are you just trying to steer clear of mosquitoes?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm wearing things like this to try to keep them off my neck and hands and stuff.
That windbreaker is you're scratching it on your desk a lot. It's kind of making a little bit of ambient noise.
Okay.
All right. All right. So how much longer are you going to be there?
Another few weeks.
So is everybody in the embassy there? Are you staying at the embassy, or you're staying in a compound where the embassy is?
Yeah, I'm staying in a compound in the old embassy.
So
right
where?
now I'm in the old embassy compound.
Where's the current embassy?
I'm underneath what used to be the old embassy.
3 minutes.
Where's the current embassy?
It's about half a block away.
Okay, and okay. Well, I guess we want to Skype with you again, and we've had technical difficulties today, and it's been kind of a cluster, you know.
Can you hear yourself on TV?
Why?
Because I'm just curious. I can't hear anything.
You're on TV, Josh.
You're on TV.
But you're not.
But no, I'm not. You're the only. It's just you. It's just you. It's just the screenshot of you talking.
And what about your voice?
Yeah, they can hear me.
Okay.
Yeah. You probably can't hear me because she told you to turn your thing down.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna close it up, and thanks for talking to us, and try not to get malaria.
Okay.
All right, later, bro.
Bye.
Excellent.
So who we have here now? We got Chris on my left and Paul on my right.
Great, let's wrap it up. We got 4 minutes and
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
We've got a bunch of footage, I believe, Perry.
Yes, we've got, hopefully we'll be able to play the footage from Tamara, the mother who alleges that she gave birth to the Antichrist. And she swears he's walking on this earth right now, and we need to change things. We interviewed a woman from San Francisco who came to Austin just to be a part of the music scene. She's actually a teacher, and she plays an incredible ukulele.
Great voice,
and
too.
a fantastic voice, and she played a song for us. We also found today on the street a guy from Australia, a musician, a professional musician, who's very well known over there, but not known over here. He had 3 weeks free in his schedule, so he came to the United States and has been booking himself in places from LA all the way to Austin so far.
He's on
and
walkabout.
he's on a walkabout going across the United States of America, and he's an incredible musician too. So hopefully we'll be able to bring you some of their music, let you hear their stories, and I think you'll enjoy hearing from this cross section of America.
Interesting, the lady that was on the Capitol, that was dressed.
Oh, yes. What was her name?
She was famous. Okay.
That's an interesting person there.
Oh, and I did a costume change, if anybody didn't notice.
You're not invisible like we thought you would
I'm a
be. It
diva.
looks like you worked out okay.
Yeah, I should have changed my hat.
What else did we do today? Let's see.
Oh, the lady at the Capitol?
We
The lady
did
at the
some-
Capitol, what was her name, Melissa?
She was
we
great.
met a wonderful Peace. Her name was Peace. And she decided on her own to dress as the Statue of Liberty and just promote peace. And that's all she wanted to do. And so we stopped and talked to her, and she wanted America to be educated. So that was a wonderful interview. Turned out she was doing this all by herself, and she does it almost every day or every weekend. And
Okay. WOC, we'll see you guys online this week.
Great.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for hanging with us tonight.
And goodbye to all of our friends online and Facebook.
and thank you for bearing with us.
Yes.
And there's 15 more seconds.
We suck.
We're clear.